And we're back, and Haley and I are in the studio, still in the studio, with Bob Troszok from Repco Light Paints, the Plainfield location. Bob's the manager there, and we brought you here to talk about board games, actually.
Yes.
We spent last segment going on and on. Bob went on and on about paint.
On and on.
On and on. Just couldn't close his yap. And
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. But I decided, let's keep you over the break. And let's talk about board games on this side. It's the holiday season. People are shopping. They're looking for gifts. And a lot of the times we struggle to find a good gift for people. You know, it's just
Or
hard.
just like something to do when people come over.
Well, that's the other side.
You know?
Is coming up with something fun to do. And board games can be great. A lot of us have a history with board games where we're used to some of the old standard classics.
Like Sorry or Monopoly.
That really don't play that well. You know, I mean, they're good. They're okay in their own right. But new games have just transcended
100%,
what these older games can do. And the level of fun, I have loved it. My family has been involved in this for years now, easily going back 10 or more years. And just the fun we've had playing at the table. Yes, we've had little fights. Yes, we've had all of that. But even the fights live on in our memories as hilarious moments. Because normally I've got a camera handy and I've got people screaming in rage as they throw dice across the room. There's really nothing better to look back on.
Yeah.
And anyway, Bob, you host the Board Game Shenanigans Podcast. Mm-hmm. You've been doing that for about a year now. It comes out every week?
Yeah, every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. It's about an hour long.
Roughly, yeah, anywhere from 45, 50 minutes to an hour and 15. Just kind of depends.
Yeah, and you talk about all kinds of different games, rules, make some recommendations, all of those things, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, because you're the expert, the go-to on this, we wanted to bring you in and kind of walk our listeners through some of the great games that are out there, maybe give them some gift ideas, some suggestions, and also maybe just like Haley mentioned, maybe you've got a party coming up and you're looking for something fun to do. Bob's got some answers. And let's start with party games.
Yeah.
I think people will be thinking about that. What are some of your favorites?
The first one that comes to the top of my head is a game called Just One. This is a cooperative style. Just One. It's a cooperative style game where one person's going to basically take a card and it's going to have 5 words on it. They're going to pick a number, say 3, and it's going to have a word on it.
I put a card on my head and I pick a number, 3.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
And then everyone else has these little small easels and a dry erase marker, and what they'll do is they'll write down a one-word clue to help you guess that word.
Okay.
The trick is if any 2 people write down the same word, that clue is eliminated. So ultimately,
that's kind of the trick.
Yeah, like how vague are you, but how direct are you? So there are times where people just start getting really vague because they don't want to do the most common thing.
Exactly.
And then nobody does it, and then the next time all 4 people do it, so then there's no clues, and you just have to do a wild stab in the dark.
So give me an example. You put a card on your head and you pick a word, and it's princess.
Right. And then you could
And then Haley and I would write down, but not share it with each other at this point.
Like tiara.
So I would write down "and the pauper."
What?
I'm clever.
No, you got to do it. It's one word, but that's fine. Just one.
One word.
Pauper.
Yeah,
Pauper.
Which was going to confuse everybody.
Yes.
Correct. Yes. Your
But
clue, yeah.
nobody is going
That's
to
the level
have.
of obscure I'm talking about.
That's clever, is what
Yeah,
he's saying.
no one will
If
have
you
that.
Read between the lines. That's clever. So Haley shows me her word tiara, and maybe 3 other people have that.
Yeah.
0 people have pauper.
Yeah.
So that's
now
the
you
one
gotta
that
guess
survives.
off of
And I show you pauper, and you guess princess.
Not princess.
Well,
I don't know what I would guess.
Okay.
But it probably would not be princess.
So I probably shouldn't be at a lot of these games, or I should get a feel for it first. But that's the concept.
You'll fit perfectly in that style of game because you will have the most obscure one, and everyone needs the most obscure one.
Yeah.
Maybe that ties everything in
gotta-
together.
I'm the comedic element.
Right.
I keep the game
wild card.
fun. The wild
The
card.
wild card.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's my code name.
You are.
Yeah, maybe I should start the show as that. Your co-host on your show is Natasha.
Yep.
No
You're
other name.
wild
I'll
card.
just be wild card. Sounds
The
like code.
wild
The wild card.
The wild card.
All right, so that's just one.
Yep.
Price-wise, do you have any idea where that falls? I don't think these are very expensive.
No, I think it's $20-$25.
Yeah.
So
okay.
it's
Super
not.
cool.
Yeah, not super
Lots of
expensive.
replayability. You can do that over and over again.
The deck is pretty large. Yeah. Eventually, if you play it enough, you're gonna kind of start to know the words. But I mean, I haven't gotten to that point yet.
All right.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. How about
like
another
it.
one for those groups that decide, no, that's too clever for our group, or not clever enough, however you want to interpret that. What's the next one?
The next game that I would recommend is a game that has been around a while, but seems to get a lot of love, and that game's called Codenames.
Okay.
I've heard of this. I've never played it.
It's it's somewhat cooperative in the fact that there's two separate teams. There's going to be a red team and there's going to be a blue team.
I want to be blue team.
Okay.
Team red, I guess. Okay. So you're going to have a grid in front of you with a bunch of words on it.
And that grid is made up of little cards or something?
Yeah, little cards
so
that
they
you
can change. The grid changes.
Yep, you shuffle the cards and you deal out a grid of cards. And then the two clue givers on the red and blue team, they're going to have a little placard in front of them, and that placard is going to show the grid, and there's going to be certain spots that are blue and certain spots that are red.
Okay.
And the object is for the clue giver to give a one-word clue and then a number to the number of words it will correlate to the grid. And their job, then everyone else's job is to guess it.
So if I gave out the clue green and it correlated to like 4 different cards on the board, then they could flip those over.
No, so what would happen is if you said green 4, they would guess. And if they guessed correctly, you would take a little placard of your color or a little little cardboard thing, and you would set it over the word saying that we have now guessed this word.
Okay, so that's
but it's
my
one
territory.
word that they're trying to get at that point?
They're trying to, if you say green 4, they're trying to guess 4 words. That means that word relates to 4 different words on the grid.
I like it.
The problem is there is one card or one word that is the spy, and if the team ever guesses that, they instantly lose and the other team wins. And your goal is to get all your words before the other team does.
So as the code giver, I get to give multiple codes as we go, multiple
from
clues.
turn to turn. So yeah, let's say blue starts and says green 4, they guess 2, and then they miss another one. There's going to be innocent bystander little things that you're going to set on the cards that are like neutral, that it's nobody's word.
Okay.
If you guess the other team's word, they get it, and then they go. It starts being their turn.
And if I get them right, do I keep going?
You keep going until you get all 4. You can only have 4 guesses. If, for example, in the Haley example, if she said green 4, and there's 4 words I'm trying to guess. If I get all 4, cool, then it moves on to the red team.
Gotcha.
Is your team blue, right? Team
Yes.
Blue? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, she
We'll
was
go to the
blue.
red team. So,
Right.
And then the wild card can say his clue.
My turns will be short. So how many people can play?
So there's always going to be 2 clue givers, and then as far as the other people you're giving clues to can be realistically as many as you want.
Does it get to be chaos? Lots of shouting, screaming, fist fights? Depends
Fist
on your
fights.
family.
No,
party group.
I don't think I've ever played this game where a fist fight is present.
You're not doing it right, Bob.
I also don't play with my family.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah. My extended family, I'll play with my family.
Any other party games that you'd recommend?
The last one I was thinking of is a game called So Clover. It's by the same people that made Just One. And what it is
So Clover?
So Clover.
That's so Clover.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Hi-oh. Got him, coach. So there's you get a clover, and you'll get these cards, and they're going to be square cards with a little square hole in the center, and there's going to be 4 words around it. What you're going to do is you're going to take them and randomly set them into your grid on your clover. And what it will end up doing is at the top of each side, there's going to be 2 words. So it could be to castle princess or green whatever. There's going to be 2 words, and then your job is to write something on the top of that placard that will again give you a clue as to how to guess the orientation. So you're going to do that on all 4 sides, and then what you do is you take your word cards out, you grab another random one from a stack, you shuffle them, and then it's everyone else's responsibility to figure out how all those words align. So now they're gonna have these pieces that have 4 words on them, and they're trying to figure out, okay, this says castle or whatever, so maybe princess and king is going to be here, but then because the pieces have 4 sides, then the other 2 sides need to line too.
Right, okay.
All right. So how many people can play that?
So one person creates it, and then the rest of the group is going to try to figure it cooperatively. This game might be one of the games that are better at lower player counts.
Sure.
So maybe a family of 4
it could
or
be
something.
chaos at some
Yeah.
point.
So if you start getting 5 or 6 people guessing, some people can feel excluded, which is unfortunate in some of those types of games. But
I always
That makes
feel
sense.
excluded, and I always like to make sure everybody knows it.
So this
why
is
I'm
perfect for you.
On that game. Yeah. All right. So some party game type things. There's a ton of other ones out there.
Yes.
I mean, there are just so many.
Yep.
Go to a good game store. We love to go to, I know you have one in Grand Rapids too, Out of the Box Games.
Correct. Yep.
They've got one in Holland now, and the staff on hand there will really, really help you out. So if you do have an interest in just getting something for a family get-together, head to Out of the Box, ask them, and they'll make some recommendations.
Yep.
Bob, can you hang with us over one more break? And then on the other side, we're going to talk about just some other game recommendations.
Sure, yeah.
All right, we'll be back in just a minute with Bob Troszok, host of the Board Game Shenanigans and, secondarily, manager of our Plainfield location. In just a second. Stay tuned. And we're back, and Haley and I are still in the studio. Bob, I didn't even finish that. I was so excited. We're still in the studio with Bob Troszok, host of the Board Game Shenanigans Podcast and manager at our Plainfield store. I was so excited, Bob, because I can't think of very many guests that have
This is our longest guest. I mean, you're essentially a third co-host at this point.
Well, kind of, yes.
Does that mean I get to moving forward to my co-host now?
Yeah, from now on,
honorary,
you're in. The only
temporary co-host.
The only other time that we've kept somebody for 3 segments was Navy SEAL Joe Coons. So that was before Haley. So you're right there with a Navy SEAL.
Good company.
The biggest
at least
thing
in the length of time you've been on the show.
I've weaseled my way into this third segment is this is the way I'm looking at it.
You kind of cheated, but it's still a third segment. We're talking about board games. We're making some recommendations. Last segment, we talked about some party games. Mm-hmm. Great things to do to infuse a little bit of fun, and who knows, maybe a fist fight or two into your Christmas celebration. Everybody could use that.
These games will definitely make it so you don't fist fight, unlike Monopoly, which everyone gets in a fist fight.
Well, I like to fight
I don't play
no matter
Monopoly.
what.
Because it's not a very good game.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about some great party games.
Yep.
You've got probably 8 minutes left. What would you recommend, and how do you break your list down at this point?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have a lot of
games.
Yeah. So I'll just briefly talk about a few different. So children's style games, the couple that I think of, one is called Outfox. This is a deduction style game where you're going around the board, flipping clues, and ultimately you're trying to figure out who stole the fox's pie or something like that. But it's
interesting. So the fox is not the stealer in this.
Well,
You're
maybe
stealing from the fox.
It's been a second since I've played it.
It's not like Dora.
Either
no,
way,
no.
Somebody stole a pie, and that's what I'm upset about.
Yeah.
And we need to get to the bottom of this.
It's a good introductory deduction style game for kids. Like my daughter loves this game, even
How
though
old
I
is
can't.
she?
8.
Okay.
So the fact that I can't even describe it is really good, but but yeah, you go around and you're flipping tokens, and ultimately the tokens are leading you down this path of who did it.
Yeah.
And you're trying to guess, and it's one of those things where it gives you an opportunity to teach kids deduction, okay, it can't be this person because of this reason, and
right,
like that. So I think it does.
How
a really
do you
good
feel
job.
about it as a parent?
Yeah.
I mean, is it like,
do you like playing it when she gets it out?
Game.
I am engaged enough, but I'm also terrible at deduction games. That's my favorite thing. I'm who did it? I don't know. And she's just it's this, Dad.
That's really funny.
We did an escape room at Out of the Box in Zealand.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Bob, we did a Repcolite team.
Yeah.
Betsy, my other co-host,
Yep.
and then Dave Helmholt
Yep.
from the Repcolite office, Bob Troszok, right here in our space, Haley, and me. And we went to this escape room, and we so stunk that
It was bad.
Jeff from Out of the Box Games said we were in the 3rd percentile. For a split second, I thought that meant we were in the elite. And then I realized
this doesn't surprise me, though, because I gave you a clue, and you said, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
Ignore Haley. That's not a real clue.
Yeah.
It ended up being the key.
We also did an escape room, and I was the weak link. So, yes, I'm not good at deduction either. You and I should play this game, and we'll never solve the mystery.
No, we'll
of the
never
fox.
know. Oh, man.
All right.
Yeah, if you're ever going to do an escape room with me, just let me find stuff. That's what I'll do. I'll find stuff, all right? I'll find everything, and then you figure it all out.
All right. So what was that game again?
Outfox.
Outfoxed.
Yep.
Another one.
One more kids game that I really want to talk about is Rhino Hero Super Battle. This is a dexterity style game where you're basically building a big building.
Okay.
You have these, remember when you would used to make buildings out of playing cards?
Yes.
Well, you have these folded pieces and you're stacking them and they're different heights, and then you're just creating this gigantic structure. And ultimately, your little pawn is going to be moving up the structure. And if you ever run into the same level as another player pawn, you guys battle. You roll a die. Whoever wins stays on the level, and the next person goes down. And then whoever is sitting on top, if it ever crumbles, typically they're the winner. So they're going to have this like
you win if it crumbles?
If you're on the top tier, if you're higher.
Never been on the top tier, but I long to be. It's a goal.
Yeah. 2023.
Top tier. Natasha.
I get to the top tier. And
you have some big goals coming up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dream big, Bob.
So
live small, but dream big.
Yeah. So if you're on the top tier, you're going to get a little token. And if somebody else causes the structure to collapse, you'll win. If you cause the structure to collapse, then you lose.
Oh, then I lose.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's how it'll be. I'll get there, and then I'll self-destruct. That's how I roll. So that one's called
Rhino Hero Super Battle.
And I guess the thing that I want to ask that everybody out there is probably wondering, parent-wise, how messy is this? Is this a big cleanup?
No.
Is it like Mousetrap?
No, it's not. It's a very small footprint. You'd be surprised. You get some, probably they're 5x5, 6x6 little square blocks that have little starting spots on them. You get 3 of those, and then you just build from there. Okay. So it's pretty confined into a little small space, but it can get pretty tall.
Do you have any idea where that price is out at?
No.
Okay.
I can't think of it.
Thousands,
$8 million for this game.
It's probably less than
30,
that.
Probably $30, maybe.
All right.
A little bit less. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yep. We probably have time for one more at the rate we're going. So pick your favorite thing, Bob. You got 2 minutes and go.
Your favorite game.
Or whatever you want to talk about. You're down to a minute 45. I'll just count it down as we go.
Oh, jeez.
This is a game in itself.
Okay, I want to talk about Ticket to Ride for 1 second.
All right, Ticket to Ride.
If your household does not have Ticket to Ride, you should own Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride should be in everyone's house, I think. It is such a good, elegant game that can play younger audiences, but older people, even somebody like myself who is a seasoned gamer.
Sure.
I still enjoy playing that game. I think it has a subtle elegance to it. There's a lot of strategy that you can unpack. And it's right up there with games like Monopoly in that they've sold so many copies that I think if you're gonna buy a game just to start out, buy Ticket to Ride. Ticket
to Ride is absolutely great. It's a map. The standard, the first one that came out was a map of the U.S.
Yep.
And basically you've got different color train cars, and you've got 45 little cars, and the map is broken up into all kinds of routes. You draw tickets that connect different cities, Sault Ste. Marie and whatever, Salt Lake City, and there's different points associated. And then nobody knows what the other people have for their tickets at first.
Yep.
And then you're trying to collect colored train cars and match them up to match what's on the tracks in order to fill these routes in. And you're trying to complete your route. And you're getting points along the way. And you get points for completing tickets. You can get new tickets. That's really fun. At the end of the game, sometime you got a bunch of stuff down and you draw 3 tickets and you've got 2 of them completed already. That's like super golden. Yeah. The thing I love about it is that, like Bob's saying, I do a ton of games. And this is something we just played this past weekend. And it's so much fun to me because I don't even need to win.
You just like playing it.
It's just fun can I complete my own routes against, all these other people who are messing my plans up. Now, this is one where my daughter Hannah cries.
Okay, that's
and then
the one.
Instantly gets the sympathy of me, which instantly makes the other kids angry.
So you can't have favorites, man.
No, I know. Well, I just don't handle crying. If you would cry right now, Bob, I'd cave and give you another half hour.
Hold on.
Anyway, that's all the time we've got. If you want to catch Bob's podcast, Bob, how do they get a hold of that?
Yeah, we're going to be pretty much on every major podcast network. It's just search the Board Game Shenanigans Podcast.
The Board Game Shenanigans Podcast. Check it out. Bob Troszok, thanks for being here. Now, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be launching the Great Big Christmas Contest for the year. You're going to want to hang around for that so you can find out how to win. That's coming up next. Stay tuned.